Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. So this entire time they've been lying to us about the Mike Brown story and about what actually happened? I don't know about you all, but the way I've always heard this story is he was an innocent, unarmed black kid, and maybe, depending on who you talk to, innocent or not innocent. But either way, he was an unarmed black kid who did nothing wrong, had his hands up, said don't shoot, and this white racist police officer still, pointed at this kid and unalived him.
Michael jerks his body as if he was hit.
And at that time, he turned around with his hands up, beginning to tell the officer that he was unarmed.
Right, this is what I've always heard, and they kind of like grouped this story in with all the other stories: the George Floyd, the Breonna Taylors, Ahmaud Arbery's, and the countless other stories that we are, very aware of. Listen, a week ago today, it's the 9-year anniversary of the whole Mike Brown situation. And rest in peace to Mike Brown. The point of this video is to say this. Black people, 1, do your own research. Do not rely just on media. Do not rely just on what somebody tells you. Do your own research. Don't just scroll Twitter or scroll Instagram or even scroll Facebook, YouTube, and that's it. Do your research, right? Go to different articles, right? Don't just go by what somebody tells you, because the media will create their own narratives, as we should know by now, right? So do your own research. 2, comply with police officers, man. Listen, I don't need anybody to hop in the comment section and tell me that there are countless videos on YouTube and on social media already proving that there are, several police officers that abuse their authority. I agree. There are several police officers that are bullies. I agree. There are several police officers that look for an excuse and any small petty reason to pull the trigger on somebody. I agree. But nonetheless, I say just follow the rules, comply as best as you can. But being a menace and fighting police officers, it almost never helps anything. All right. I just saw this video the other day of this dude who did the smartest thing to prevent this police officer who was in the wrong from unaliving him.
Shut your car off.
You gonna shoot me?
Got a gun.
Where?
Gun.
Where?
Shut the car off.
Where? My hand in the air.
Shut the car off. Shut
Nah, hey, come shut the car off. I ain't moving my hand if he trying to shoot me. He trying to shoot me.
Shut the car off.
Nah, I ain't moving. No, my hand in the air.
Shut the car off.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
These units at Midland Heights.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
All you gotta do is drive off.
What I was doing? What was I doing? What was I doing? My hands in the air. My hands in the air.
Sir, you comply with the law.
Shoot me. My hands in the air.
I'm not gonna shoot you, but you're not gonna move those hands.
My hands in the air.
And that video, in my opinion, is a great example of a police officer who appears to me to be in the wrong, and a citizen, that being a black American, doing what he needed to do to keep himself alive, right? But if you're in a situation, especially when you're in the wrong and you decide to fight a police officer, that's different.
Surveillance video inside a convenience store shows a robbery in progress. It's about 10 minutes before Michael Brown is shot. A police report describes a tall, heavy, unarmed suspect picking up a box of cigars, then heading for the door. When a clerk tries to block him, the suspect grabs his shirt collar with his left hand, pushing him out of the way, and walks out. The store calls 911 reporting a robbery. Question: is this 18-year-old Michael Brown? Answer: police say yes. He appears to be wearing a white T-shirt, khaki shorts, flip-flops, and a red St. Louis baseball cap. The same clothes Brown was wearing when he was shot. The same red baseball cap is seen lying in the street. Question: who was with Brown in the store? Police say it's Dorian Johnson, standing behind Brown here and next to him at the door. Dorian is not being charged in this case. He's Brown's friend who saw the young man he calls Big Mike shot dead. Johnson is a key witness in the shooting who's already been interviewed by investigators. 10 minutes after leaving the store, Brown and his friend are confronted by a police officer in his cruiser about a quarter-mile away. Question: who's the officer? 6 days after the shooting, we find out his name: Darren Wilson, wearing a badge for 6 years, a clean record.
He was a gentleman. He's a quiet officer. and he has been an excellent officer.
But the biggest question, why did Officer Wilson shoot Brown? The answer remains murky, yet police now acknowledge when Wilson first stopped Brown and his friend, it had nothing to do with that cigar robbery. It was far less serious.
Because they were walking down the middle of the street blocking traffic. That was it.
And the officer says, "Get the out of the street," verbatim. It was his words.
But now, this intriguing new detail. The police chief says when the officer drives by the teens, he may have spotted cigars in Brown's hand, making a possible link to the robbery minutes earlier.
And then as he passed them, I guess that's when he might have seen the evidence and connected it.
At that time, he reached out the window with his left arm. He grabbed onto my friend Big Mike's throat, and he's trying to pull him in the vehicle.
What little police have said differs sharply.
One of those individuals at the time came as the officer was exiting his police car, allegedly pushed the police officer back into the car, where he physically assaulted the police officer.
Police say the two struggle over the officer's gun. But Mike Brown's friend says Brown was just trying to get away, not fighting for the gun.
Okay, see, that's not how I've heard the story over the years. Did you all know that he had just robbed a convenience store? I didn't know that. Did you all know that he had assaulted the clerk? I didn't know that. And many of you might happen in the comment section and say, well, what they got to do with him being pulled over later? No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, this man is a criminal. He's wanted in that particular point in time. The clerk has contacted the police. They're looking for this man. They end up pulling him over for walking down the middle of the street. That was the reason they pulled him over to begin with. And then in addition to pulling him over, right, there was a scuffle that took place. And a lot of times, that's how they've shared the story over the years, a confrontation.
Happening right now, a ceremony to honor Michael Brown. He's the teenager shot and killed by a police officer after a confrontation. The shooting happened 9 years ago today.
You hear what she just said? A confrontation. But if you actually read the DOJ from Barack Obama, who was the president at this time, 9 years ago, let's read and see what they had to say about the situation. As Wilson, the police officer, as Wilson drove towards Brown and Witness 101, he told the two men to walk on the sidewalk. According to Wilson's statement to prosecutors and investigators, he suspected that Brown and Witness 101 were involved in the incident at Ferguson Market based on the descriptions he heard on the radio and the cigarillos in Brown's hands. Wilson then called for backup, stating, quote unquote, "Put me on Canfield with two and send me another car." Wilson backed up his SUV and parked at an angle, blocking most of both lanes of traffic and stopping Brown and Witness 101 from walking any further. Wilson attempted to open the driver's door of the SUV to exit his vehicle, but as he swung it open, the door came into contact with Brown's body and either rebounded closed or Brown pushed it closed, right? One of the two happened. Wilson and other witnesses stated that Brown then reached into the SUV through the open driver's window and punched and grabbed Wilson. This is corroborated by bruising on Wilson's jaw and scratches on his neck, the presence of Brown's DNA on Wilson's collar, shirt, and pants, and Wilson's DNA on Brown's palm. While there are other individuals who stated that Wilson reached out of the SUV and grabbed Brown by the neck, prosecutors could not credit their accounts because they were inconsistent with physical and forensic evidence as detailed throughout this report. Now, again, many of you, we don't have video footage to corroborate or 100% prove what happened. It was proven that there was some sort of scuffle that took place and that Brown assaulted the police officer. Now, I'm not even going to debate who was in the right or wrong in that particular case, but this is just what I want to say because I'm trying to keep people alive out here, bro. If you get pulled over by a police officer, just comply with them. Just comply with them. I understand this is a very controversial topic, but for me, I just don't like the fact that they'll share these stories, man, and they don't talk about how both parties was in the wrong. Because they know saying that the police officer did something wrong, especially if it's a white police officer and a black citizen or a black victim in this particular case, then it's a lot more controversial. It'll start up a lot more ruckus. And then you have these Black Lives Matter narratives, and they'll just clump it in with all the other stories instead of treating each story as its own individual story. And I just want people to be able to think for themselves. Do your own research. Don't take the media, man. Listen to police officers, comply with them, deal with these police officers if you feel like they're in the wrong, the legal way. I understand it's a frustrating topic, but I'm just trying to keep a lot of us alive, bro. Y'all up in the comment section, y'all give me your thoughts. Did y'all know all the details surrounding this whole Mike Brown situation? Are you familiar that the police officer was actually never charged because the evidence actually corroborated, along with other witnesses, corroborated the story that he shared? Y'all up in the comment section, y'all give me your thoughts on how y'all feel about the topic. Until next time, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.